The occlusal plane reference allows the exact and predictable correction of setup models, as well as the positioning of labial or lingual brackets for indirect bonding. Draw the reference lines, the facial midline and the smile line, on the setup models carried out with Model Maker. Put the articulated models in the articulator you usually use. In this case, it is SAM3. The occlusal plane reference allows the use of setup models mounted with a plate of any articulator, so you can put them back in the articulator without the intermediate steps after the correction has been carried out. It also allows the brackets positioning too. With the help of easy height recording screw and multidirectional adaptation appliance, position the models on the model fixation. If necessary, adjust the antero-posterior position of the model with the fixation model adaptator, fixing the screw in the base. Then use the occlusal acrylic plate as a reference. Use the multidirectional adaptation appliance and stick the occlusal VTO to the acrylic plate and then fix it into the position of the lower setup model teeth. Use the canting, the occlusal plane, the rotation, the sagittal positioning and the height screws to adjust the acrylic plate to the occlusal plane of the model. Warm up the wax of the setup model and correct the position of the teeth according to the occlusal VTO. Maintain the vertical dimension, the rotation, the canting, and the depth of the curve of SPI as references, and carry out the correction according to the proposed treatment plan. When the occlusogram matches perfectly to the teeth position, the lower setup model correction is finished. Put the lower model back into the articulator. Check the occlusion with the upper model. Because the upper model is not corrected, they will not match. Repeat the whole process with the upper model. Place the upper model into the occlusal plane reference with its plate. Put the model onto the model fixation and adjust the acrylic plate with the upper VTO to the occlusal plane of the model. Use the screws to adjust the height, the sagittal movement, the canting, and the rotation. Carry out the correction. Warm up the wax in the same way as you have done with the lower model. The acrylic plate allows you to keep all the characteristics and the position of the occlusal plane. When the correction of the upper model is finished, put it back into the articulator and check the functional occlusion, anterior guide, canine guide, posterior disocclusion in protrusion, and non-working side disocclusion in lateral movements. The OPR allows also labial or lingual bracket positioning. First, place the corrected setup model into the OPR and use the indirect bonding plate in multidirectional adaptation appliance. Position the full-size ideal arch. In this case, it is 18 × 25 stainless steel arch. Fix the arch in its position using the OPR. Fix the ideal arch to the plate with acrylic resin. And finish the adaptation of the height, rotation, canting, and sagittal positioning. Write down all the values used for positioning of the arch: height, rotation, canting, and sagittal positioning, in case it is necessary to reposition the arch in the same position so the brackets can be rebonded during the treatment. In this case, ADENTA's Evolution SLT self-ligating brackets are used. To achieve larger stability, use the composite or blockout resin to make the anterior reference in the arch. Then ligate the brackets to the arch. and customize the prescription by filling the space between the bracket base and the teeth with composite. Before this, paint the teeth with the plaster separator. When the composite base is finished and the excess removed, carry out the light curing. When the positioning of the brackets to the model is finished, open them and remove the arch and keep it until the end of the treatment for possible repositioning. Then carry out the transfer trays, close the brackets and use the smart cap system, which consists of a smart tube, smart connector and smart base. The smart cap adapts to the tooth anatomy with composite or acrylic resin, as shown in the image.